Latest album, I guess, Welcome to the New, which Flawless is on, was we almost titled the album Flawless, and I kind of do it backwards. Whenever we start thinking of albums, I always come up with the title first, and then hopefully I'll write a song that has something to do with it. But some of the harder ones are like The Generous Mr. Lovell. I had the idea and I come up with it, but this one I thought it was gonna be Flawless for a long time, and I have 5 kids, and my middle son Charlie is like straight out of the Little Rascals, looks like Spanky or something like that, and I wanted a picture of him like with this big black eye and like missing a tooth, like he'd got some kind of fight. He had this huge grin, like he just loved every minute of it, and just said Flawless. But apparently they thought that was too violent, so we went with Welcome to the New. CPS probably wouldn't agree, but anyway. This was the first chorus that we wrote for this last album, and it's a big deal to me because I didn't grow up understanding that I was flawless because of the cross. I grew up thinking that when I came to know Christ, I was a brand new creation, but since then I have messed up all the newness and got dirt on me and lost that new car smell, and the tag is gone, and I messed it up along the way. It wasn't until later in life that I realized, oh right, Christ is in me. Like I remain new because of who is in me, not because of what I've done or didn't do. But even though a lot of us, maybe we grew up in church, maybe we were told that our whole lives, but we still have this tendency to live like we've ruined it. Like the enemy keeps telling us that we're disqualified, that we have messed up our chance, that we've taken something nice and just made a mess of it. I mean, that's not the gospel. I grew up my whole life with this massive to-do list of things I thought I had to do so that God would be okay with me. So that I could be a super Christian. So that not only would he notice me, but he'd be pleased with me. Man, I had to turn 40 to realize that he's been screaming this whole time, I've been pleased with you since the day you called my name, and I've never, ever stopped. I mean, it's easy to sing songs that give us this kind of warm, fuzzy, we are the world kind of vibe, but man, it's the truth. That the God that is so huge that he threw the stars to the night, God that is so incredibly awesome that he and only he tells the sun when to shine, is looking at you right now saying, you cannot screw this up. That what you have with him cannot be broken. Now we can screw stuff up, but we can't mess this up. Man, I have a big admiration for people that have tattoos, because I'll never get one because I'm a wuss and I hate needles. And Sharpie on your arm's not cool. But I always thought, man, that's pretty bold statement to get a tattoo. It seems pretty permanent, right? And I always thought if I had the nerve to get one, it would have to say something. Because, I meet these guys that are like, hey, it's a cool tattoo, what does it mean? They'll say something so deep that I'm like, oh, yes, sensei, that's amazing. I was like, man, what do I want to say? What would it say? What would represent like who I want to be? And of course, being a musician, it'd have to be in my forearm, so when I worship, you could read whatever it is I have in my arm. I have like see inspiration, other arm, and then I throw this one up. 1-2 punch. Applause, I'll just say applause. So I started thinking, man, what would I say? Like, what would that be that could just kind of represent what I'm trying to be with my life? And I want to be the guy that lives as if I can't screw it up. Live as if I've read the last page of the book and I know how this whole thing turns out. I've lived most of my life thinking that I was going to mess things up, so I just wouldn't try. And I so desperately want to live with a reckless abandon where Christ says, you know what? You are going to stumble and fall along the way, but you're going to get back up. You're going to stumble and fall. But the good news is you are not a bad person trying to be good. But because of Christ in you, you are holy, righteous, and redeemed, who will wrestle with the flesh from time to time. You will win some and you will lose some, but it will not change how Christ sees you. To be free of the guilt and the shame and the fear of screwing up. To be free of the anxiety and the worry that God may look at you and say, you disappointed me. But there's no condemnation in Christ, for those in Christ. So that's what my tattoo would say. I can't screw this up. But like in Hebrew, so it looks smart, right? Oh yes, look at me. Very smart person. Man, I wish I'd learned this earlier in life, but man, I grew up in a broken home. My parents divorced. I was raised by the church, but the whole religiosity of it all just taught me a lot about legalism. Whether they meant to or not, that's what I received, was that I had to do more. I had to clean up before I get in the shower. And somehow I overlooked grace. When religion would tell me to get it absolutely right, grace would say, I'll be there when you can't. I mean, I'll tell you, my parents, broken home, my dad was abusive. I carried this burden thinking it was all my fault for most of my life. And my wife and I have been married to be 19 years this year, and we got 5 kids, and so we went to counseling so that we wouldn't kill each other, and it's been great. Still alive. And one of the things that this amazing godly woman showed me, my wife, is that how my childhood was kind of connected to a lot of this, the way that I deal with stuff now. And I had this moment that was like this breakthrough, like Goodwill Hunting, ugly cry kind of moment. And all she said was, you know, if you ever wondered what you would have looked like in a godly family environment, just watch your middle son, Charlie, because he's just like you. Start bawling. Wasn't sure why, I just couldn't stop. Maybe because in a weird way, it's like I felt like there was this kind of a do-over, like I could have the chance to be the dad that my father couldn't be. I don't know. I know that Charlie's a little freaked out because I stare at him a little too long. I analyze everything that he does. Like, why you pick Cheerios over Fruit Loops? Is that where I went wrong? And it got me thinking, man, if I could ever sit down and have a conversation with the 8-year-old version of me, what would that look like? With everything you've gone through in life, if you could sit down with that kid just once, what would you say to him? And the blessing and the curse of being a songwriter is that our therapy is that we write songs about it. So I thought this would be a cool idea for a song, not realizing it was going to be one of the hardest songs ever written because I didn't know what to say. And then it dawned on me. I know exactly what I would say to him. So this is the conversation with, if it were possible, the 8-year-old version of me. This song is called Dear Younger Me. Dear young me, it's not your fault. You were never meant to carry this beyond the cross. Dear young me, you are holy, you are righteous, you are one of the redeemed, set apart a brand new heart. Oh, you are free indeed. Every mountain, every valley, through each heartache you will see. Every moment brings you closer to who you were meant to be. Dear young me, dear young me, you are holy, you are righteous, you are one of the redeemed, set apart, brand new heart. Oh, you are free indeed. You are holy, you are righteous, you are one of the redeemed, set apart, brand new heart. Oh, you are free indeed. You are holy, you are righteous, you are one of the redeemed, set apart, brand new heart. Oh, you are free indeed. You are holy, you are righteous, you are one of the redeemed, set apart, brand new heart. Oh, you are free.